things. I keep track. I don't know that it means anything, but okay. So before we get going too fast, we've got a new webinar. We sent out a big email yesterday afternoon, but it didn't work for the members. So it's but I fixed it. I hope I fixed it. I think I fixed it. It worked for me. So I tested it, and I should have tested more. But we're having a webinar, 7 questions to avoid direct mail failure, or I call it direct mail fail. Okay? I'm presenting something, this is crazy, I know, but I'm presenting something that I first presented, let's see, holy smokes, I think it was like 39 years ago. I presented a spreadsheet at the New York Hilton at the DMA convention, and I showed people how they could do an analysis of their mailing project and understand, or you get a picture of how it was going to do. It was way before predictive modeling. In fact, it was about whether you could use a computer in marketing. And about 95% of the attendees didn't have a computer in marketing. They didn't have any at all. And that's where we were back in about 19, gee whiz, what would it be? 82. About that, yeah, about 82. So, however many years that is. Don't do math live. Anyway, I'm going to be presenting basically that same spreadsheet. I've had people tell me, oh, they used it for 20 years. Deluxe Check used it. They used it so much, they asked me if I could summarize it because they'd filled servers with it. Because they required their marketing department to use it every time they were going to do a new campaign. But it will help you avoid multi-million dollar losses. When Blockbuster called me and said, we want to do a catalog, I asked them these 6 questions, and I said, no, I won't do it. They said, we'll give you $100,000 to figure it out. I said, I'm not doing it. They flew their IT director up. I still said, I'm not doing it. And then they flew their number 2 guy up under Wayne Hangzega, Kerry Valentine, and I still didn't do it. But I recommended somebody, Katie Muldoon, and they did it, and they lost $5 million. They took me out to lunch, and they said, we've never met a consultant like you. Anyway, these 6, 7 questions can keep you from disaster, but they can also give you great insight into any campaign. It can be applied across the board to digital or to probably even SEO and others, but it for certainly can be applied in mail, where almost all this stuff got started. So if you got the email, you can click there. It's a 1-button click. We're getting much better. The Style Consultant is a whiz. And if you didn't get it, you can go to wdma.org. That's that sign behind me right here, wdma.org. Oh, man, Keith already put up a link down below in the comments. And I'd also like to say, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. I don't know what it does. You can even hit the little alert button. I don't know what any of that stuff really does, but, I get notices that somebody subscribed, so I got one today, and so I thought, well, I never ask anybody to do that. Okay, now I've botched up all my time, but let's get into Tom Fishburne, and we'll see how far we get. Okay, inflation, shrinkflation, and skimpflation, and that's especially what we're going to be talking about today, skimpflation. Okay, he says, I ordered a large, and I've circled there, I put a box around the cup. It's a little tiny demi-tasse kind of cup. I ordered a large. That is a large now. Costs are going up. We can only raise prices so far. That's why we shifted to instant. Can you imagine getting a cup of instant coffee? Ugh. Anyway, and we reuse the cups from the trash. I want a refund. You'll have to ask customer service. Searching for a refund. They don't have a person to talk to. Good luck with that. Anyway, so NPR's Planet Money coined a catchy new economics term called skimpflation. It's a decline in the service quality while keeping the price the same. So we went out to eat last Friday, and we went to it was an Asian fusion restaurant or something. I don't know what. And, Mr. Google Pants said it was open for dine-in. And it was, but you couldn't eat, and you had to sit on the couch in the waiting area. Excuse me. And so we asked about it because I was a little, I thought it was because of COVID. And they said, no, it's because we can't hire anybody. We can't get enough employees to serve tables. Well, they could have maybe served one, but they didn't want to. So anyway, you're paying the same or more for services but they kind of suck. And that's called skimpflation. And instead of simply raising prices, companies skimp on the goods and services they provide. No skimping here. As you know, the WDMA has increased the service level with COVID, even though many of our competitive, not that there are any competitive direct marketing associations, but have cut their services, whereas we've had more, such as it is. Okay, Disney, and I'm gonna go get a haircut, so I improve my stylist comes in. Disney's cutting tram service from their parking lot. Airline hold hours are infinite, and Domino's delivery times are going up. I don't know. I think Domino's is doing okay. Anyway, so, this kind of margin improvement, I thought that was a good phrase, has been going on for years. And what happens basically is a brand, I remember my dad telling me a story. One of his salesmen was sitting in a Howard Johnson's, and apparently there was like if you've never heard of Howard Johnson's, it's kind of like Denny's. And then they had hotels attached to them sometimes. The executives for the Howard Johnson's chain happened to be sitting in the Howard Johnson's, and one of my dad's salespeople was in Howard Johnson's in a neighboring table, and they were talking about how they could cut quality, how they could use margarine instead of butter, or I understand I'm getting involved with beekeeping. I understand a lot of grocery stores sell basically corn syrup with a little real bee honey added, and they call it honey flavor or something like that. Of course, I've always preferred the maple faux syrup to the maple actual syrup, but that's just me. Sometimes, and the salesman got up and he said, that's why people don't come to Howard Johnson's, because they know you're skimping or something like that. And my dad said, you got to be careful when you're skimping. Okay. And so, there's a story in here about when he was working for Yoplait, a competitor they left the carton the same size but cut the amount in their yogurt, and they advertised it as leaving now room for your favorite mix-ins. I think that's very clever. I don't know how it worked out. And Disney's CFO says we can cut portion size, which is probably good for some people's waistlines. Absolutely. I don't like going out to dinner. We always split the entree because it's just too much. We can't eat all of that. Of course, I don't like going to fancy schmancy restaurants where they don't give you anything and charge you double. So you can't win with me. I just don't like going out to eat. My wife's a fantastic cook. I hope she listens today. Customer satisfaction is at its lowest point in 15 years. My, how things have changed in the last couple of years. Okay, there are risks on this. And what happens is that here's a great illustration of the risks. A great product, let's boost the margins. Use cheaper ingredients. More headspace, so he made it a taller box and narrower. Downsize at the same price, so now we make it smaller. Use cheaper paperboard, now it's falling apart. Lose the box, and then there's just a bag of stuff, and it says, "Gosh, why is private label gaining on us?" And here's even a better one. After years of margin improvement, there's nothing left but an empty box. I don't think there's any more we can cut. Cost cut. And this guy says, we could phase out the box. So anyway, you got to pay attention. You got to watch out what you're doing. You got to listen to customers. There's always a balance. There's always a balance between value and price, and that's one of the magical things about capitalism is that it finds that balance and it rewards people who are listening to the marketplace. So don't listen at your leisure. Okay, so here's something. Gum Gum, which is a brand safety expert company, said, I guess, or maybe it's a publishing company. I'm not sure. It's a funny name for a company. But they said that keyword-based safety strategies are blocking a considerable amount of safe content. So people are mentioning climate. Like it's a warm fall this year. Does that prove anthropomorphic global warming? Not really, I don't think, because they say that weather isn't climate. Now I've used the word climate like 3 times. So this would be graded as an unsafe place to advertise because I've used the word climate. Have I said anything one way or the other? No, I just appreciated that it was in the 50s today on my motorcycle. But they went and actually checked, and they found that at least 60%, I'd like to know what wasn't safe about climate, about 60% of their content was actually safe. So like mine, right? Mine said nothing. Mine didn't tell you what I believe or what I didn't believe or anything. So it's safe. That's safe. But choosing to use keyword blocking when better technology is available is reckless. And the bottom line here, and this is the important part, publishers shouldn't have to limit their coverage of important topics like COVID, George Floyd, or climate change because of monetization issues. So what's happening is that people are saying, well, we got to be careful because, let's say we have a tennis shoe brand and we make the tennis shoes all totally out of bamboo. So we're very climate aware. And so we don't want to get on a page that says that climate change is real, but it's caused by solar forcing, which probably is true. Probably has very little to do with CO2. A little. I'm not saying nothing. You get banned if you say nothing. Sure, and it's man-caused, the heat in the cities at night, the concrete, and the way they change their measurement of the thermometers and a lot of things. Man has caused a lot of changes in the way climate has been reported. So it's real. It's really real. But, the publishers can't put that in there because they can't even put in what I said because then they get demonetized. Now, fortunately, I've only been demonetized a couple of times, and it hasn't impacted my revenue at all because I don't get any revenue from this show. I better get to the point here. Brands utilizing broad block lists to avoid coverage around climate change missed out on about 52 million impressions across Gum Gum's supply. So they're saying you shouldn't do your own blocking because you would have blocked good articles. Okay? Well, we'll use that term generically. Okay, so anyway, Dr. Augustine Fu, and here's more commercial, posted this on LinkedIn, and I really like Dr. Augustine. We got to do a show together. And he had 2 articles that he published in the last few months, and this one says, okay, here's the bot fraud. Here's the people that are trying to trigger more advertising by getting banks of phones, like phones that are hitting sites, okay? And they look like traffic, but they're not, okay? And we've already pointed out that Google and Facebook have an interest in allowing that because it creates the impression, and the bots will click. It creates the impression of impressions and of clicks, but your sales don't go up because they don't buy, not generally. Okay, but what Dr. Augustine says is that site fraud, most of site fraud is actually not from bots. It's from the way the ads are posted and from the way the ads are described when they're put into the ad programmatic buying group. And it says that they don't detect most of this. Here's some stuff I'd never thought about, so I want you to think about. Web page cheating. If you're on a site and it refreshes the page, let's say you're reading the article, it refreshes the page 5 times. They count that as 5 views of the ad. Not 5 different people, 5 views. Okay? And they could post it many times. Another thing they do, it's called ad stacking, is they put the ads, put their banner, like what, you know, they put their banner ad on a spot on the page. The page owner lets them do that, and then they'll put multiple ads. Essentially, their Java code will stack multiple ads so that you, the advertiser, have a cookie in your ad, and it puts the cookie on my browser, but I didn't ever see the ad. And it allows them to put more ads on a page and charge the advertiser and charge the advertisers for ads that never were seen. It can also do them in very small pixels. I remember a guy putting 1 pixel ads up or something like little teeny weeny. He did a page of little teeny weeny ads, and he did like 1 million ads on a page, charged $1 a piece or something, and made $1 million. I thought, why didn't I think of that? So ads could be loaded in 0 by 0 or 1 by 1 pixel iframes. It's called pixel stuffing. They can also do pop unders, so it doesn't pop up over the content. It pops, but your browser still sees it, even if you don't see it. Fantastic. Mobile apps are better at cheating because they don't turn off. You keep them going at night on your nightstand, and they can still go watch ads, and they can go. The app that's running on your phone, you don't realize it could be doing work all that time. Whereas your computer at night, I usually close it, you know, just in case I want to sleep without blue light. I don't bring computers into my bedroom though. Okay, domain spoofing. When a site is offering itself to advertisers, they can call themselves the New York Times if they want to. Nobody checks. It's all programmatic. So you think you're getting a really good deal on the New York Times, you're getting a good deal on something that nobody sees. So I have 2 articles here. This is also just on how hard it is for the fraud detection to actually work. Here's an example of what this page would look like if it was seen on a mobile app. Here's what it looks like on a desktop. You notice that these pieces are missing on this one. These pieces are not missing. That's the kind of thing that you can do with ads and with fraud to make it look interesting. The other thing is the ad fraud apps will classify a site. So here's adult content, Time Magazine, Daily Mail. Let's see if there's anything. Sports Illustrated. I don't go to that much anymore. Wired, I read all the time. Business Insider, I read some of the time. Okay. Healthline, my wife reads that. All classified as adult content. Over here, this is weapons, Time, MSN, CBS News, eBay. They don't really have much for weapons on eBay. Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post. About the only one that really might talk about weapons is Outdoor Life. But, you know, this totally misses the boat, and that's part of his point. Okay, and so, you know, I get a lot of people asking me, asking me what USPS don't cheat. Yeah, exactly. A lot of people ask me if I want help with my digital advertising, and I say, you mean digital fraud? You know, but back in the day, we used to advertise, you know, in mail. You have the ability to pick lists based on, you know, the title. You say, well, I know people read the New York Times and they read the financial news, so I can probably rent people who read or who subscribe to the New York Times, or they go to the website and they read the financial section. You know, you can. That's one advantage of digital. You can tell where they hang out, right? But maybe you don't need to know that. Maybe the Wall Street Journal just that enough, right? Or Financial Times or something like that. So that you can actually take the time to think rather than buying ads in milliseconds. And then you can mail to them. The USPS guarantees delivery. The physical nature of it guarantees that it goes to the household. The decision maker evaluates it and engages with it, has to look at it, throws it out, Everything eventually gets thrown out, but throws it out either sooner or later. So you know you've got engagement. So you know they looked at your ad. You don't have that in any other advertising. It's just the facts. Plus, it doesn't matter what else comes in the mail, right? You're not going to be on a terrorist article. Your ad is not going to appear in a weird context. Your ad is going to appear in the mailbox where everything's got its own context. So you create the context. So there's a lot of advantages of using mail to find out what your best offers are and what your best lists are. And that's why mail is so powerful. Even if you don't believe in mail, you should be using it as your best research tool. Well, I've talked way too much today. Go over to WDMA for these articles, subscribe, and sign up for the seven questions. Learn the 7 questions. What it really is it's learning to speak CFO speak. It's learning to impress your CFO with knowledge about the basic economics of marketing. That'll be the subtitle. Have a great day. Like and share.